Trump built in Atlantic City was a Potomkin village. A facade that looks fabulous in the front, but behind which there is no substance. All there was Donald Trump's smile and a whole lot of unaffordable debt. And that combination didn't make it. Atlantic City had suffered basically since the 1950s from a declining tourist and vacation market. So something was necessary, as far as the state was concerned, in order to assure Atlantic City's success. The people of New Jersey voted in 1976 to amend the Constitution, and the first casino opened in 1978.
This casino is now open.
It's not too long after that that Donald's interest develops. He starts flirting with Atlantic City, and he builds the plaza down there. He acquires the castle. He then went into an acquisition phase, which is really what the Taj is.
The Taj was unlike any other property in Atlantic City. The casino floor was about twice the size of the typical casino floor in Atlantic City. And it was just unheard of to have a property on that scale. Huge amounts of money were invested in the building of the Taj. Hundreds of millions of dollars, but Trump felt that he could complete the property.
He promised the Casino Control Commission that he's got all kinds of lines to the banks. Major banks, one major bank, they'd love to dump money in my lap. You know, he led them to believe this transaction was uniquely something he could finance. Obviously, that's not exactly the way it turned out. He winds up relying totally on junk bonds.
A junk bond is so lowly rated that there's a high probability that you're not going to get your money back. There were 675 million issued, and a lot of the bonds were owned by small individuals. So little guys who weren't wealthy actually had a stake in that property.
No matter where you were building, it was very hard to get money out of traditional sources. So you know, junk bonds were the way you did it. Just kind of like what he says about bankruptcy.
You used the laws of the country, the laws of the land, and I did.
It's the law of the land, I just took advantage of it. I think it's kind of the same thing there.
You had all of those people who were the giants in the gaming industry coming to Atlantic City. Now, in addition to that, you've got the #1 real estate developer in New York. What could be bad? How could this possibly go wrong?
Now, this report was written in the summer of 1989. I was very disturbed by the amount of debt that was being piled on these properties. The debt service was over $95 million a year. Those kind of numbers made it necessary for that casino to generate a win of over $1 million a day. And no casino in the world has ever done that at that time.
At the historic meeting of showbiz and big biz, music's magic man and the Midas mogul ran the media gauntlet to open the world's glitziest casino. That fan hysteria reminded me of '96.
The Taj Mahal, at the time that it opened, was probably the largest casino in the world, and it was certainly magnificent. And for a short period of time, that new enthusiasm, the new excitement, the magic of it all was terrific.
It had a sense of such excess and opulence. This was, in every way, an attempt to convey empty wealth, which it turned out to be a lot emptier than Donald expected or that any of us saw coming.
By the end of 1990, which was less than a year after it opened, it was failing to generate the revenues that were necessary to fund the bonds that had built it. They just couldn't pay the debt. And as a result, that led to further bankruptcy proceedings and eventually to Trump's loss of the facility.
etc. I have never gone bankrupt, by the way. I have never. But out of hundreds of deals,
but sir,
excuse me,
that's your line. But your companies have gone bankrupt.
Out of what am I saying?
He's right to say, as he does on the campaign trail now, that he did not personally go bankrupt. But that's only because he was too big to go bankrupt. The banks had to keep him alive and breathing. And since then, he's become a wealthy man by selling the name that was based on failed projects. The real things that he built, where are they?
So when you talk about his legacy in Atlantic City, unfortunately, it is very ugly. If you look at his bankruptcy filings, for example, you see page after page after page of small businesses in Atlantic City that were thrilled when he got here, that would have built a statue to him when he got here. But at the end, all wound up with debt that could never be paid.